something punched me in my stomach. When I say something punched me in my stomach, I've never felt something so gut-wrenching when I started reading what it was. Hello everyone, so my name is Roxy B and I'm back again with another video. Today I'll be talking about spinal muscular atrophy. What is spinal muscular atrophy, you may ask? So I'm gonna be reading from a laptop just so that you guys are aware. So spinal muscular atrophy is an inherited disease that affects nerve and muscles, causing muscles to become increasingly weak. It mostly affects infants and children, but can also develop in adults. Symptoms and prognosis vary depending on SMA type. Gene replacement and disease-modifying therapies offer hope. Long story short, this is basically an inherited disease. And I wanted to talk to you guys today because after I had my son, the pregnancy in itself was really hard. We had him, we took him home. He went to his first pediatrician visit. The pediatrician said that he was good. We were excited. We went home, and just enjoying our baby. On our way back from one of my OB appointments, I got a phone call from his pediatrician, and she, was just kind of calling a lot, but I missed the call because for some reason my phone was on Do Not Disturb still. So she called, I tried reaching her back. It was really hard. So finally got in contact with her, and she was just letting me know that, well, actually, I didn't get in contact with her. I got a phone call from a gene therapist. We live in Florida, by the way. So the gene therapist calls me and she was just like, hey, I wanted to let you guys know that, your son was diagnosed with SMA. So I'm like, whoa, what? First of all, my doctor said that my son was fine. You must have the wrong baby because he came out and he is, climbing on me, what they call the pandemic babies. He was climbing on me. He was doing all types of stuff. And I was like, you must have the wrong baby. So she was like, no, we did a newborn screening. It's very new. We added SMA to the newborn screening. So prior to, it was not added. So they recently added it to the newborn screening. And that was when, she was just like, we added it like a couple of days ago before he was born. And he basically, popped for SMA. And I was just like, what is this? Like, you keep mentioning this SMA. What is this thing? So then they go into it and they're just like, it's my spinal muscular atrophy. We don't know how bad his situation is. There's another test that you have to take to determine how bad his case is. So I'm just like, well, it couldn't be that bad because, he moves everything, just doing the most for, a newborn. In that case, of course, I'm still, all right, let me look up SMA. So while I'm on the phone with her, I'm looking it up and I'm telling you, like, I felt something punch me in my stomach. When I say something punched me in my stomach, I've never felt something so gut-wrenching when I started reading what it was. So then I grew quiet on the phone. They were like, you're Googling, aren't you? And I was just like, yes, because I've never heard of this before. So then they were basically like, it's not as bad as you think. There is treatment. However, most of these babies, if you're not quick with a diagnosis, like, being diagnosed and treatment, they can pass away due to respiratory failure. And I was like, all right. So of course, I look at the images of the kids with SMA and I was just like, I broke down. Like, I couldn't talk. I just broke down because I'm like, my sweet baby, like, how? So then I'm like, what did I miss in all my labs, at my OB? So I started going over all my labs and I'm looking and I'm just like, I didn't miss a thing. It says, and I told her, I said, I'm not a carrier for this. I was tested and this said that I'm not a carrier. I was good. I don't have it. And they're like, well, this could have been something on the recessive gene that the maternity screening would not have found. I lost it. When I say I lost it, I'm like, what? Throughout my whole pregnancy, I was going to my regular doctor and I was going to the high-risk doctor. So how is this even missed? So they were like, well, you wouldn't have found out unless you did that amniocentesis or whatever it's called. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I would have had to did that test and I opted not to do the test because regardless of the situation, I was going to have my baby. So I didn't do the test because it was the risk it was just too much. And I was so far along in my pregnancy. Something that happened, you know, because of this test. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people have done the test before, and, you know, it was fine. But for me, I just did not trust it. I was just like, I'm not doing it, because what if something happened to my baby? I wasn't gonna do it. So I opted not to do it. And that was one of the ways they could have diagnosed that my son had SMA. So yeah, so of course, you know, we were diagnosed, and, you know, I just broke down downstairs. Got off the phone, you know, they told me to go look for this thing. What is it? Sorry. They told me to go look for this organization called Cure SMA to get some more information. Went on there, and I just felt like it just wasn't giving me what I wanted. Like, it was just not giving me all the information that I needed at the time. It just kept saying there's no cure, and I didn't want to hear that. I want to hear what you gonna do for my baby. Well, how is my baby gonna survive this? Because, you know, so the website, it was just like, you know, of course it was nice, it was purple, it was just giving hope, and I was just like, yeah, nah, I need to know what can I do right now in this situation. How much is this treatment? Because I'll pay out of pocket for it. I don't care. So that was just how my whole attitude was towards the situation. You know, if I had been doing this at that time, like, I would be an emotional wreck, just like bawling, screaming, crying, just doing the most. So of course, you know, it was just bad. It was just bad. Everything I was hearing was just bad, and I just lost hope. So I started crying, got off the phone. His dad was just upstairs like, what happened? What they say? What's going on? You know, and in that moment, I was just like, you know, the doctors don't call you for good news. The doctors call you when stuff is not right. So, and in this situation, something ain't right, sir. And he was like, what is it? So I told him, and of course, you know, he just grew quiet, and he just kept looking at the baby. It was like he didn't want to touch him because he felt like he was so fragile. Like, you know, before he was just all over with him, and, you know, just now it was just like he was scared to touch him because he felt like he was gonna break him. And I was just kind of like, you know, we're gonna love him regardless of the situation. We're gonna love him, and we're gonna treat him just the same like we treat our other child. So of course, you know, he tried to hold it together. You know, we said that we weren't going to tell none of our family members, and we did not. We waited until our first appointment with the neurologist. So when we spoke to the neurologist, you know, he was just so hopeful. But shout out to you, Doc. You did it. His name's Spanish. You did your thing. Dr. Lopez. We just gonna call you Dr. Lopez. So, you know, of course, naturally, we saw him. He said that